Good morning, everyone. It is I, Hunter, once again, the Ultra Mega Teacher RPGer, and welcome to yet another episode of the UltraCast. And I am here, as always, with my good friends Roger, Duskquill, and Marhawkman.
Oh,
Howdy, everyone.
Hey, every guys, what's going on?
So, I'll just ask in general this time: did anyone get any gaming in this week, or have any come up this weekend?
oh,
Uh,
last week we did a session 0 sort of for doing a second campaign for the one that I've been playing with my family members.
All right, and what game was
With
that?
well, it's based on 5th edition with whatever nonsense homebrew people feel like throwing in. Because my younger brother is the DM and he likes to do whimsical stuff in games. So I'm not actually even sure exactly how far the whimsical on this one is going to go because the basic premise of this particular campaign is that everyone has been forcibly turned into mermaids because reasons, and I'm not actually sure a whole lot beyond that. But what we were doing on Thursday was mostly just character creation stuff.
All right. What about you, Roger?
well, aside from like tabletop related stuff, I'm still grinding through the new Digimon game so I can try to work on my review for it. If only I could get instant access to people like IGN and be able to play it days in advance to write a review on the day it comes out. But
The
aside,
only issue I have with. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, you go.
No, I was going to say I would love to play a Digimon game if it didn't cost me $70 to be able to have to play it on Steam. And my problem is I wouldn't want the basic. I want the deluxe version because I've been seeing all the images, especially when you get like Lady Devimon, Andrewmon, Lilithmon that have all been
Well,
floating around on X now.
Well, you get them just initially in the game.
Nice, yeah. Because
But,
everyone's been showing off all like the gameplay for Digimon, and it actually looks really good. And everyone's trashing on Pokemon too in the process.
as as they should, because you can say whatever you want about the conflict between Pokemon and Digimon, but there's one thing that the Digimon games will always have over the Pokemon games, and that's effort. There's actual effort put behind those
Let's
games.
say fun.
Yeah, there's that.
Morning, Eurydites. Good to see you. This is a friend of the channel and also friend of friend and stuff. He was on with each other on the second watch last night with our friend Lord Matty. Yes. Our buddies who is at our end with a bunch of other people. And so let me get that off. What about you, Duskull? Anything happening this weekend you got?
Well, last Saturday after the podcast, me and my players we managed to wrap up Call of Cthulhu. They were able to stop Dagon from coming into the mortal realm, and because we finished that off, later today, we're actually going to be starting with one of the players becoming the GM. Star Wars, Force and Destiny. We're going to be starting that. I feel like it's going to be rather interesting. And as far as video games go, actually, me and a few of my friends, we've actually been getting into this new MMORPG that came out like a couple days ago called Blue Protocol Star Resonance.
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, there's been plenty of people that's been playing that here lately.
That one was kind of fun. Nope, by no stretch of the imagination is it like the best MMO ever made, but it's fun. We're enjoying ourselves with it.
Yeah. You're muted.
You're muted, my guy.
How about now?
Yeah,
There you go.
Can you hear me now? Good. Anyways, so video game wise, actually, I own a physical copy of Max Payne 3 for my 360. And so I started kind of playing that again for a little bit. And I always loved the Max Payne trilogy. It was one of my favorite video game series to ever play, just from a story standpoint and the action and all that. And then tabletop wise, on Wednesday, I was playing a Horde Wars with the Horde Wars game where we had to go fight off a bandit camp led by this guy named Lalo the Red. And what was interesting was one of the characters had a player that had a scroll of wild shape, turned into a bear, then cast on itself, grappled the bandit leader, and flew up into the air as a bear, holding the bandit leader, while we just took out the rest of the peons. Like literally the last peon that was running away, I just struck it with a lightning bolt from my Morning Star, and just finished him off as he was running away. And then
when the flying bear.
Yeah, and then when the bear character finally dropped the bandit leader, it was 30d6 damage.
Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah, because for like 2 turns he just like, oh, I'm just flying.
Yes,
the bandit
maximum altitude.
Yep.
Well, do
And I'm
y'all
actually
want
going to be playing later this evening. Share your thing really first, Roger.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I did see something that was like video game related. I don't know if anybody here follows the Side Scrollers podcast.
Yeah.
But they do like a little thing of today in gaming history of showing like video games that were released on this day X years ago. I saw the one for today. It was 1 year ago today that Metaphor ReFantazio came out, and 21 years ago was when Paper Mario and the 1,000-Year Door came out.
Oh, that just made me hurt.
Yeah.
Wasn't that like the sequel to the N64 game,
Yes.
the 1,000-Year Door?
Yeah,
That was like
I
on
was supposed to say, it's
GameCube.
like, wasn't that a GameCube game?
Yeah, GameCube.
Yeah, it was GameCube.
That was 21 years ago? It's old enough
Yeah.
to drink and smoke?
It
Yeah,
is.
GameCubes aren't exactly new.
I knew it was. I didn't think it was that old though. Jesus Christ! Because I remember my cousin had an N64 and he had the original Paper Mario game that I used to play.
Yeah, I never really heard anybody ever talk about the original Paper Mario. They only ever
I used
talked
to
about
play-
just the 1,000-Year Door.
I used to play the original Paper Mario all the fucking time, but it's like one of the few that I can't find anymore anywhere. So all I got is just a 1,000-Year Door. I do not know where my copy of the original Paper Mario went.
That is actually a weird thing with Nintendo, is that they do that thing where they're like, oh, we're going to sell new things now. That particular product has been discontinued. And they do that with video games.
Yeah, as soon as they make
Oh,
a
yeah.
sequel,
Didn't they,
the original's
like-
done.
Did they release like digital versions of their classic games to be played on the Switch? I thought.
They didn't
Yeah,
release
they
it. You have to have like their membership pass in order to even get access to them. And even then,
Gotcha.
you have to be like, they got like the different tier system, and you have to be a particular tier in order to even get access to them.
Also, my understanding
God,
is
I
that
hate
it's a
Nintendo.
carefully curated selection and not just like everything.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Good morning, I'm Blackwell. This is actually one of the creators of Horde Wars right here, and he's become a good friend of mine in the 3 years that I've been playing the game. And he's been working on a sci-fi with his game with his D12 system called Dropship, which is basically if you took like Warhammer 40K and all your typical like sci-fi like movie related stuff and just threw it all together. Like there was the very first time I played it, I played basically because you pick careers instead of classes, so you pick 2 and you get all their abilities. So I was like a heavy tank. And even though I had like a rail shotgun, I increased my marksmanship so much I could snipe people with my coil gun.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I was gonna say earlier is I'm gonna be in another game of Bears of Borderlands being ran by someone else this weekend, which is hold on. It decided to go to something else. Which is why I always have to shout out the Kickstarter. Arduin's Portal to Adventure by Emperor's Choice, which actually just hit a little over $27,000 on their backing.
Nice.
Damn.
So if it will pop up here, yep.
And that's
Still got
that
about
was
3 weeks to go.
originally
140.
goal of only 5,000.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's over 5 times what it was originally. Hold on a second. It's being a little slow on my end. Yeah, I don't know if it's showing up at your guys' end. If you can see, if it
Yeah, I'm seeing
Yeah,
it.
we see it.
Yep.
okay, there it goes. Now I can see it. Yep. So again, you get the. It's kind of it's not really a remaster trilogy, though they did some of like fixing up and new artwork for the Arduin trilogy. You get the Lost Dungeon of Toneberg by the Blackmore guys, and then of course you get the Bears of Borderlands, as well as if you do the whole Portal to Adventure box set, you get all this character sheets, extra adventures. Because Matthew Tapp actually made this one. This is Dracula in Space, which is an adventure he made just for this. And then you get maps and there's cards, and I think you get a set of dice to go with it. I think they should offer a little, but that's just me. So, and again, I recommend it's what I call the Ultra Pledge. For just $185, literally almost half off of what it would all cost, you also get a protective case that you can put your Portal to Adventure bundle in to protect it for years to come.
To seal it in carbonite for posterity.
Say what again?
I said seal it in lucite for posterity.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, I will be pulling it out all the time, just to be playing it stuff. So, because it's one of my favorite games to play right now. So,
I remember someone telling me in the indie comic sphere. I can't remember if it was Kickstarter or Indiegogo, but it was like one of these crowdfunding sites where he said that if a product reaches its max, like if it completes its goal, it'll actually promote that project more actively, because it's going to be trying to keep the ball rolling for it to so when it's finally wrapped up, it be on a strong finish.
yeah, I mean, it reached its goal in like less than an hour, I believe, because there were so many of us that already had like pre-saved want to get on. But I just had a thought and I just lost it. What was I going to mention?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Dang it! I completely forgot. I forgot what I was going to say now. I had a thought. And
Put Dracula in the drop ship. Now put Dracula in a drop pod. Put that man in the tomb.
Yeah, make him go fight
To the hell.
Make him go fight the ODST guys.
Feet first into hell.
Yeah, ODST was such a. It was such an underrated game for how good it was for its time. Because I remember playing it one night because a friend had it. I'm like, oh, I never tried this, and I just played on it for hours because it was so good.
I hated how underrated that game was because I love playing it, and then next thing you know, freaking Helldivers 2 has an entire special freaking pass just all about ODST gear. Like,
yeah. And then my favorite was when you can go your buddies and you're fighting the waves of monsters, and it was just me and my friend, and so we would
Firefight.
Firefight. What we would do is we would just get a warthog, and we would switch who was driving and who was shooting the gun, and we would just drive around, just mowing them all down, just driving nonstop around the map.
My first ever time beating a Halo game on legendary difficulty was when me and 3 of my friends went over to another friend's house, and someone brought their Xbox with them, and then we just spent like the entire day just playing legendary ODST.
Yeah, the only game I've ever beaten all the way through was Halo 2 when I finally was allowed to have it. Because, again, being in a strong Christian conservative household, my parents were very strict on what we watched and what we played. So the very first time I showed my dad Halo 2, right after I turned 17, he looked at it and read about it and was like, "Oh, this is just Star Wars, basically." And I was like, I could have just told you that like 3 years ago, and I wouldn't have had to wait till I go to a friend's house to play this game. So yeah, we finally played Halo, and actually, me and him, I think we did like some of the verse maps together on a few occasions. Because my dad wasn't an avid gamer, but he liked to play sometimes. The only reason I ever had sports games was because whenever like some of my dad's buddies would come over, they would pop like NFL Madden into my Xbox, and then they would just play some football for a little bit.
Yeah, that's just the one thing that I personally have never understood was that whole entire growing up in them very heavily conservative Christian households where they just straight up ban stuff that you're not allowed to watch this, you're not allowed to play that, and all that. Because, yeah, like more likely on my mom's side, she was very Christian and whatnot, but she didn't say anything about like, oh, that Pokemon, that satanic shit right there.
Well, this is actually one of those things that I, as a small child, asked my grandmother about, and grandmother's like, "Well, go read the Bible. Yeah, just go read the whole thing. Then if you have further questions after you do that, then we can have like a serious conversation." Well, I did that, and yeah, Granny was serious about that one. But like, well, what it is though is that a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, no, this is what the Bible says," are actually just making shit up. That was what Granny wanted me to learn, and that Granny knew that the only way to be able to call people out when they're doing that is to actually have read the stuff.
They're like, hey, I read the Bible. It says nothing about Pokemon in here.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, that's actually I was about going to ask you, Jessica, because okay, do you consider yourself like atheist or a deist? Like, do you just believe there's none out there at all, or do you believe there's something out there, just not the Christian God? Just to kind of clarify.
I mean, I'm open to the idea of there being a higher power. I just haven't experienced anything of the sort. So at the moment, I am very much atheist.
So a space
that
theist,
more,
not full on one word.
that actually
Yeah,
sounds more like the
an
classical
atheist.
definition of an agnostic. Is that you're not certain if
That's
there's a
what I was
God.
looking for. Was agnostic, not a deist.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's like I haven't seen anything that implicates or says that there is a God, but like I'm not going to say no. There turns out to be one. It's just that I just don't see there being one.
Okay. No, but the reason I asked it because I was going to ask you because were you raised like kind of Christian in a Christian household, and you had like experienced any of this yourself, or what's kind of like your kind of upbringing like in regards to like what we're talking about?
I was very much raised Catholic. For better part of 10 years, I've been going to church. Every Monday I was going to Bible school for like 11 years, and then even for a year and a half, I even volunteered at my church to be, being an altar boy, participating in the services. But when I got to my teenager years, I started to think a bit more about particularly my faith and my relationship with God. And I was like one of the top kids in the Bible school. I was always the one participating in classes. I was the one that was like memorizing all the Bible verses and shit. I can't do that shit anymore. It's been fucking forever since the last time I read the Bible. It's been so long since I even gave it religion. But it's just like after a while, I just fell out of faith and started questioning a bit too much. I wasn't really getting the answers I wanted, and that's basically how I became atheist.
No, that's fine. I'm not going to try to. I'm not trying to like preach you or anything. I'm just wanting for context purposes to talk for this topic because even though like again, strong conservative Christian household growing up, and even though like my parents were both raised Catholic, but we were still very much attending non-denominational churches. We like I have this. It's like, and I have a whole thing I can go into about the Catholic Church, and I'm going to save that for a completely other episode because I don't want to get into that today. But it's like, even though, we're a strong Christian household, we still watched Harry Potter. We still had Disney Channel and all that
Oh yeah,
because my parents were like,
yeah, like despite like all that, my parents didn't really like ban anything. Like one of the first movies I ever watched, I believe that was like 6 or 7. Like at least one of the first that I can actually remember from my childhood. I watched Blade. I watched the Blade movie at like age 6 or 7. I fucking loved it. I love Blade. He's my favorite superhero. But like,
and what's more Christian than killing vampires?
I know, right?
But I remember one day because it was during when I was first reading the Harry Potter books. I took my Bible out of my like Bible carrying bag and I put the 4th Harry Potter book in it. And then when like what was funny was when one of the ladies that like worked the church, because I was like in 4th or 5th grade at the time, she saw that I was reading this book and she's like, that promotes witchcraft, right? And like me and like 2 other kids that were like nearby that heard this, we all just looked at her. Like, yeah, sure, basically, kind of deal.
That's actually one of those
And then-
things that when you pop, most of what people
Yeah.
say about that in relation to the Bible is
I-
actually a misquoted text, and kind of because like the one that people most commonly state is "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live" or something like that, and that's using an older meaning of witch that's actually not considered to be a magic user, because in the like older dialects of English, being a witch meant that you actually just like made weird potions, and it was more like what we would in modern times think of as an alchemist or something than magic.
Yeah, literally, one of these shows I do every now and then is A Witch of the Paladin with my friend, the Wiccan Conservative. So we both have these same political leanings, but it's our religious beliefs that kind of make it have us differ. But to say so at the same time, though, it's like because one of the first episodes we did was we just kind of talked about like how can we work together? Because yes, we're in this crazy world. We don't believe in the same things, but we have these same ideals at least. So how do we work together to where we're not fighting each other amongst ourselves and against people that literally want us dead?
Oh, also, is that
Yeah.
that verse I was talking about, the actual reason why it's considered to be a crime worthy of death is that to be counted as someone guilty of this crime, you have to have used your weird alchemical knowledge to kill someone.
Mhm.
So for like modern English translation, it would probably be better to phrase it as poisoner than witch.
Oh, maybe, but speaking of witches and magic, guess what? Is anyone able to tell me what came out this week in
Hmm.
tabletop?
Now that's related to tabletop.
Yes.
Not too sure.
I vaguely recall several things coming out, but
It is none other than War of Critical Role.
Oh yeah, that's
I
right.
didn't mean to interrupt you there,
You-
Mohawk,
you
in the
had-
process.
You had that in the show notes, and I was like, oh, that I haven't been watching those guys. So
I haven't been watching
Yeah.
them either.
I never
Yeah.
bothered to
Campaign
watch a single episode.
for camp led by now being DM'd by Brendan Lee Mulligan instead of Matthew Mercer, which I do not agree at all with Brendan Lee Mulligan on a lot of his opinions, but I do say Brendan Lee Mulligan is the better Dungeon Matt Mercer by a milestone. And so
well,
I
mean,
saw that this dropped. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say is that one of the main criticism with Matt Mercer was that he's better as a voice actor than a DM.
Yeah.
Yeah, he also doesn't have that energy that Brennan has when he's dungeon mastering.
Brennan
so
can
that's
go
why-
absolutely unhinged when they're like on command.
Yeah, because before I saw, because I actually did watch the very first episode, I listened to it while I was at work. The only thing I had ever seen Critical Role related was EXU Calamity, and I loved those 4 episodes of that. It was really fun. It kept me hooked, and I enjoyed it. And then we now get Campaign 4, which, if y'all hadn't heard, Campaign 4 is supposed to be a West Marches style game. Because who we see in the picture right now is just part of the expanded cast that is going to be taking part throughout Campaign 4. All right. All right. Yeah. We'll definitely have to bring you, maybe, Todd, if you're ever available, like on a Saturday morning, we can bring you on to talk about Hebrew and Greek translations of the Bible and stuff like you mentioned in your previous comment. So, yeah, if like just I'll reach out to you and you just let me know whenever you're available. And that may be something we could do for like a short topic or something.
That is a pretty big.
So they did Campaign 4.
That's a pretty big cast, though.
Yeah, and because again, listen to the whole thing, and Brennan Lee was constantly having people like leave and come in, because they were flipping through different scenes. Now there was not that much rolling that happened in this game because this was all like introductions and like setting prep for the most part. So, do y'all care if I spoil it all or not?
I don't care.
All right, so basically, how the scene starts off is one of the players' brothers gets executed. Right off the gate, a character's brother gets executed, and now apparently he wasn't supposed to be executed. He was supposed to be saved, and somehow the plan failed. And it's got this whole like, it's okay. This is part that this is the red flag for me. Is it's got this this upper class like. That gives off like old white men type vibes that you hear like a lot of these like liberals and leftists say sometimes. So already there's that kind of red flag. I'm probably going to just listen through each episode, and I'm just going to kind of talk. I'm probably going to talk about these going forward on here, more than likely. But it does set up that interesting political intrigue, which is usually not my biggest thing. But Brennan does it in a way that makes me like actually like want to know about like the intricate workings of like what's going on in this city and this world and all that. Because apparently another part of this world is all the gods are dead. They've all been killed off. But there's still magic, and I think there's clerics still, just not to the extent like a cleric should be. And then I think in this one there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 13 players right now, just from the start of the first episode that were in this very first episode.
That's too many.
Yeah, well, it's funny. Yeah, well, I mean, again, they were all sitting around the table at once. He was having them switch in and out throughout for various scenes. Because it really started happening because they then had it cuts later on to a scene where they're having like a wake at the house of the family of the guy who was killed at the beginning. And then some people leave that party, and they're doing like this whole big investigation thing. But let's take a look at a few of these characters that they have here. So Laura Bailey, start her off first. She is playing a fairy rogue named Thimble.
How tall is
if I can
Thimble?
get the, I don't know if you'll a fairy, or I guess a pixie. In this, I guess depending on how you define D&D terms. So yeah, she's playing a fairy rogue, and she's
It's cute.
Yeah, and again, it's basically kind of like Thumbelina type size.
Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is this meant to be the same size as Tinkerbell from the Disney version of
I'll just imagine that
what I am looking.
Oh yeah, it actually
for.
says 4 inches tall.
If she ever deals damage with those daggers, I'm just going to imagine she's just stabbing people in the eye because there's no other way she could actually do damage.
Yeah. So what's actually funny is in Barrows and Borderlands, playing as a fairy race in optional class. The thing is, though, you can being a human size tall and fairy size tall. You can switch between the two.
Yeah. So like,
you don't have to
fly around at like 4 inches. You fly around at 4 inches tall, and then you shift to human size to stab someone.
Basically, yeah. And then, so there's actually one thing that did say to me is we have a lot of players playing as humans. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 human characters in this campaign.
One dwarf.
Yeah, one dwarf. Actually, no. The thing by Marisha Ray.
Dwarf wizard. God damn it.
Why do some of these characters have?
But no, look at the picture here in a second.
Doesn't even look traditional.
Check that dwarf right there. Yeah, the only
Doesn't
issue
look
is,
like
and now that I'm
traditional
seeing it, is she has a beard. Dwarf women don't have beards.
The only
Just
dwarf women that
depends on
have
the
beards
character.
are in
And I will die on that
the
hill.
Tolkien.
Which
Like I said, the only dwarf women that should have beards are in Tolkien lore.
Discworld-
setting is this
Di-
particular
Discworld does
character
it too.
from? Is this being played in 5e?
Oh, They're
Yeah,
actually
they
using
said-
the 2024 rule set. Which is
Yeah.
actually funny because there's this really cringe infomercial that has Sam Riegel like dressed up at like almost drag queen esque, and they actually do a shot at why they're not using Daggerheart for their new campaign. They actually do a self roast about that. All right, so I'm sorry, Duskquote, did you want to try to say something? Because you and Marhawk were kind of go over each other for a second there.
Well, I was saying that Discworld also has female dwarves with beards. I really don't care too much about that when it comes with dwarves because you can have it one way or the other and it'll still work. Me being the dwarf fanatic that I am, for one thing, I see dwarf wizard, I'm already turned off. And second, with the looks of it, it didn't have like good traditional looking dwarf garb, so you might as well have just played a human.
Honestly, my thought with
Yeah, this is my
that
character.
It looks more like is that her character looked what I would expect a Kender to dress like, and it's
Yeah,
just a character who's just like a very, very thick.
They
Kender.
They said it's supposed to be a wizard, but with that dress, it looked like they were more of a bard or a jester.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's
I don't.
exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, and my thing's being weird on me again, so I apologize for my accidentally talked over everyone earlier. But this is Matthew Mercer's character, and he's playing a human fighter rogue. So he's like one of the most normal characters. And what's funny was this little he's got. People have joked that that's the shawl he wore in the video where he's like, "I am depressed." Everyone jokes that that's just a replication of his shawl that he wore in that video.
Depresso espresso.
Exactly.
I mean, if it fits, right?
Yeah. And then there's one more character. I'm not going to show every single one of them, but there's one more character. We do have, I guess technically would be a Leonin, but Travis Willingham plays a Lion Folk character in this campaign.
Aren't the Leonin
Also saw-
from Magic the Gathering, anyways?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not official art. Apparently, I don't know if they even. I know they all have art for all the characters, so I'm surprised it's not updated on this site yet to have it.
Isn't this
I also saw they
So
apparently
that's-
have a demon.
Oh yeah,
Which
this
ba- yeah,
is a fandom site, so this is
Yeah.
presumably fans uploading this, not the.
Yeah, but they have all the other character art. Like she's basically a tiefling. I don't know why
I was
they
gonna
use.
say, I was gonna say
So-
that's just a tiefling right there.
I have an idea as to what they're going with this one, and it's cringe, but understandably cringe. Okay, see, here's the thing. In D&D, there are a lot of demons who are lawful evil. And-
That's devils. That's devils.
Okay, yes, but they're probably going to conflate the two when they just talk about it on the wiki, I guess. But anyway, it's like if devils are actually something that you could presumably have as a party member, even if it's
It's devils
something
can be
genuinely
team players.
stupid.
Demons, not so much.
But again, though, is that this is a fandom wiki, and I'm not sure how much of this information is actually official, and how much of it is simply collected from official sources.
Yeah. So this is Sam Riegel's character he's playing, and I was just thinking about this earlier before we got on here. Is I don't know how Sam Riegel is married to a woman when I fully believe he is more than likely secretly a closeted gay. With how he talks and his mannerisms, he has to be gay.
That's
actually,
a
you know
weird
what?
thing because of the
I-
fact that you have the whole like twink thing where a lot of twinks are actually ladies' men.
Yeah, because like I know that more than likely none of you all would have ever watched the show. I only know it just because of passing by mom would watch it. It was at Chris Lee Knows Best on like a USA, where it was like a male fashion designer who was like a high up there before he ended up going to prison last year, if I remember correctly. His mannerisms, the way he speaks, would make you think that he is a full-blown gay man, but he is married to a woman with 3 children and 1 adopted daughter. No. I think 5 children. 3 of them are just in the show.
No, I will have
So
to
I
try to
would-
refine this. Go ahead, I'll let you finish before I share.
I was just gonna say, so I wouldn't necessarily say that just because the way like somebody would like talk or all that stuff would automatically assume to make them gay. Because like I've also known like plenty of gay guys that just talk all normal and everything. They just like a little bit of penis.
Just a little bit of, just a tip.
And anyway, but
Just a tip.
going back to the character races from that list, did the people who were in the Critical Role campaign actually specifically state what their characters' races are?
Some did, some didn't, to an extent, if I recall. Because again, I was just kind of passively listening to it as I was working. So, but I know there's like humans, there's orcs, there's elves.
That list has some of the races have in parentheses, presumably.
Yeah, the elf
Which-
might be one of the elves might be a drow, possibly. They don't know
Which
for sure.
Makes me think that the people compiling it looked at pictures and are like, "Oh, this is what I think this picture looks like,"
And
and
you know,
it's not necessarily what the characters intended to be.
to also go back onto there, I think you mentioning it potentially being like fan content and the people that are in charge that are like making the whole thing not knowing D&D lore, despite the fact they're being fans of people that play D&D and doesn't know D&D lore. I think it's very indicative of the problems we're having with D&D in this modern age.
Yeah, it's made by
Mhm.
Critical Role fans who
Yeah.
may or may not actually know anything about D&D. Yeah.
Exactly.
People that can't tell the difference between a demon, a devil, and a Yugoloth.
Yep.
Yeah.
My only other thing is that since they're using the 2024 rules and everything, what's the possibility that there isn't going to be at least one character in there that is going to come out as a tranny?
Well, another thing with that though is that if
Keep
they're
your eye on that
actually
dwarf.
using the 2024 version of the player's handbook, it's possible they're using something that's not actually, even in 5e. It's like something that wackos at WotC decided to change for 2024.
All I know is
so
that I've
they'll
never
be interested
bothered-
to see how this.
Yeah, I was just
Go
gonna
ahead.
say I just never bothered to even look up anything about the 2024 rules because from everybody that I've heard that has played it, say like it's just absolutely atrocious compared to 2014 at the very
I
least.
never bother looking into anything with new D&D when they came out with the new artwork like a couple
Mhm.
years back, and you had like
Yeah.
this the fucking Los Angeles Dwarf Forge, the Mexican dwarves, and the horrific what seemingly seems like AI painted playing every subrace of elf under the sun living in harmony in the trees. I'm like,
Yep.
no.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
So that actually,
Well, one thing someone told me about the 2024 rules, and I haven't actually read through them myself, is that it's kind of like taking 5e and to put it bluntly, and shitifying it.
Yeah.
we got a friend here in the chat. Mr. Levistro has joined us, silently judging each of you who hasn't liked the stream and judging. So Levistro's a cool dude. Friends of a bunch
Yeah.
of friends of mine. Well, when you were Kai and Dash as well. So, and there actually is something about the AI related I would like to talk about, but I will save that for if we have time because I do want to cover some of these other topics as well.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I'm going to bring up this post on X that started like a big going to honestly basically got books now because this was a big thing that was kind of all over the place during this.
Oh boy.
So there's this publisher. I don't know if it'll decide to pop. My computer's being with me right now. I don't know why.
We're getting something here.
There we go.
Nope, there it goes. Okay. Yep. So this is a publisher called Bitmap Books, and they had someone. So it says, excuse me. Let me just read this. Dear supporters of Bitmap Books, last week after the launch of our latest book, the definitive book of SNES RPGs Volume 1, we first became aware of some historical comments made online in 2022 by the author Moses Norton. We fully understand that these comments were insensitive, offensive, and are absolutely not views shared by Bitmap Books or any of our stakeholders. We have spoken to Moses, and he's agreed that Bitmap Books will donate all his royalties, present and future, to charity. We have selected Special Effect, an organization that helps severely physically disabled people to enjoy video games through the innovative use of technology. Ultimately, it's on our shoulders who we work with, so we take full responsibility for the situation. We research all prospective authors before we begin working together, so there's clearly where we need to further improve. We hope that this resolution means that we can move forward, as we have lots planned for the rest of 2025 and beyond. Sam Dyer, founder of Bitmap Books.
This is one of those things where if this was someone I had
So
even
immediately,
heard of, I would maybe consider boycotting them. It's just like this feels like someone who is culturally irrelevant doing bullshit, trying to get attention.
yeah, well,
I've
it garnered
said
attention.
once
It did
before.
because
Yeah.
I said it once before, and I'll say it again. I am under no obligation to care should be a phrase in more people's lexicons. Like, oh, this author that we have on here to do a thing apparently said some no words like 30 fucking years ago. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. As Madam Savvy points out, it's like, what even was the comment that they're going to exile the guy for?
Yeah, that's the problem, is that these companies and all that, they will always say that, oh, it came to our attention that somebody in our team or on our staff said these words, and it's like, what were they? Show us the evidence. Don't just tell us that they apparently said anything. Show us
this is
the
just
actual
screenshots that
receipt.
someone took, but apparently the comments that the dude made with another person. And it really just comes off as just typical like social media, like tit for tat kind of crap. Nothing serious. And even the guy,
I do have to say that
he even came out saying, "Well, go ahead."
The whole thing about Brazil being behind the times when it comes to digital media is absolutely true.
Yeah.
And that's actually something Brazilians often complain about is just how long it takes for them to get stuff like that.
Yeah, because like they even throw jokes at that on like Tuesday night's main event over on Geeks and Gamers with one of their panelists, Dan Vast, saying like, "Have y'all finally gotten the Dreamcast over there yet?"
Yeah, and the attention it did got because I mean you had Savvy, you had Grums talking about it, Dark Rose talking about it. Like the majority of the main folks you would see, John Della Rose got it, John A. Doug, everyone was calling out, and I called it for what it is too. The fact that he, yeah, no, I don't agree with John and everything either, but and Levistro's commenting about here too in the chat, some beef between some stuff 4 years ago confirmed by Moses. Take what you will from Bitmaster Minds. Yeah, and I'll get to that here in a minute, Levistro. I'll share that post as well. But what I immediately got up, I went full Bioshock mode because, I mean, a man is entitled to the sweat of his brow. I don't care what. He could have said the most racist shit ever. You don't mess with a man's money because that will backfire on your ass.
It makes you as a corporation into a liar if you choose to renege on a deal that you already signed. Now, I do understand that a lot of these corporate psychopaths will put into their contracts things like, we are allowed to stop paying you for any reason we feel like it. If we decide for some reason that we no longer like you after you have done the work. Okay, that's not the way it's phrased in their corporate boilerplate bullshit, but that's something that's a reasonably accurate way of rephrasing it into something that's not 10 pages.
And you know,
It's just,
oh, go ahead, Dusk.
no, I was going to say something, but I'm like, I'm going to refrain myself here.
No, but the other thing I was going to point out is they said that they're going to donate all the author's royalty money to the charity.
Mhm.
They say nothing about the money the publisher will be making from the sales of this book,
Mhm.
which sounds like to me they were going to keep all the money and laugh all the way to the bank, while this author basically gets nothing from his work.
Well, I don't think
At
Moses
first.
Morton was actually going to get a particularly large chunk of the cut anyways. So I don't think they actually cared about his cut of it. I think this is all just a virtue signaling nonsense. And that the whole like donating to charity is part of the virtue signal. Because like the nature of the charity is part of the virtue signal.
I actually wouldn't be surprised if they only just said they're going to donate it to a charity, but they never actually did. They just kept his portion of the money for themselves.
Yeah, because we've seen plenty of other companies
so-
that have stated
I've
that
done that
we'll
before.
do that and never do.
Yeah. Mhm.
Well, also that this goes back to my thing about the scale of the amount of money he was going to get anyways. Is like, whatever.
Well, again, like this was like I think the start like the beginning of the week, and then several days after that, this post gets made. Dear supporters of Bitmap Books, although I stand by that Moses' comments were ill-advised and insensitive, the whole thing made much bigger than it needed to be. Moses has publicly apologized for any offense caused, as has the original poster of the comments, who did not intend to cause this much trouble. I do not feel that this warrants an author losing his livelihood and ruining years of hard work to produce the book. So I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to go through each paragraph of this. Moses, first of all, should not have apologized at all. This is one thing I am adamantly clear about, especially in today's political environment. You never apologize to the left because they will always hold you to that regardless of how many times you apologize.
I mean,
Because it's
you
like the
can
left eats their own.
Yeah, you can
Well,
apologize all
actually-
you want. They'll still execute you.
The thing that I would put in there as a caveat is that there is the concept of a reasonable apology and an unreasonable apology. Like, that particular thing. It's like making a statement such as like, this was just me having a joke at someone else's expense. It's not something that I think should be taken seriously and not indicative of my personal feelings towards Brazil. That's the extent of what I would consider to be a reasonable apology.
Yeah. The other thing is Bitmaps tried to spin this whole narrative to make it feel like we were trying to attack the author, when no, we were coming after you, Bitmap Books, because you were stealing someone's hard-earned money. This was theft in my eyes, basically. To say that you're going to take someone's hard-earned money and give it away to a charity.
Wait.
Is theft.
So Moses was actually like the main writer for this work, and not just a contributor. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Moses was the author of this book, and he's like, I think his X handle's like All Red Mage or something like that. I forget
Ew.
at the top of my head. But yeah, Moses was the author of this like history of Super NES RPG book, Volume 1. And because of these comments, they were going to take all his royalty money from the sales and give it to charity. Well, Bitmap apparently would have just kept all their part of the cut. And so
This makes Bitmaps come across as incredible scumbags.
Yeah.
Not,
Let me
not
continue
just
to the next
woke virtue
paragraph.
signalers, but just scumbags in general.
Then they continue, despite multiple accusations to the contrary, Moses freely agreed to donate his royalties to charity. Press X to doubt. There was no coercion from me. However, we both recognize that due to an increasingly stressful situation that decisions were sides. I'm pleased to say that Moses and I have spoken again today. We stand together and have agreed that he will receive 100% of his royalties. So they do the right thing finally and say, hey, we're not going to donate his money to charity. He gets to keep every penny, which is how it should have been to begin with. If Bitmap wanted money to go to charity, it should have been from their end, not from the author's end, in my opinion. If that was the case.
This guy just called himself out for being. He says that he made a hasty decision and that he thought he was doing the right thing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how it
Call
always
yourself
goes.
an imbecile.
Yeah, so to continue, maybe this is Sam Dyer still speaking. Maybe I was hasty in my response, and I'm happy to admit to that. At the time, I sincerely thought I was doing the right thing to defuse an increasingly difficult situation. I will commit to donating all company profits from this footprint run to the charity Special Effect. That's how it should have been in the first place.
Hmm.
I just literally just said that.
Or
Okay,
again,
the bottom line.
I said, or again, you could
Go ahead.
I said, or again, you could have just not cared in the first place and just kept rolling like nothing happened because essentially
Yeah.
nothing happened.
It's because like
Exactly.
it was a nothing burger. Why are you getting this upset over a nothing burger?
It's due to the effect that we are starting to see the times where all these companies and everything are still seeing that this portion of people are complaining about this. Maybe we will lose our money if we don't cater to them. And now, but we're still seeing some places that are still doing that, while some are saying like, yeah, we're not going to just listen to you because you all never buy our stuff in the first place. Why should we care what your opinion is? Yet, just like how we were talking with Brazil, there are still some places that are just a little bit behind the times whenever it comes to stuff like this.
Well, one of the things that was one of the biggest bombshells when Elon Musk did his Twitter file things back when he bought it was that a lot of the online hate mob cancel campaigns were bot farms.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. It's like, oh, you have a Twitter outrage. Okay, is it real or is it a bunch of bots yelling?
Exactly. Because like you can never convince me. Like I had a little interaction with somebody where they were responding to somebody who apparently had over 12K likes on a post, and I went on there, and the guy barely even had 800 followers, and then the other guy saying like, "Well, maybe he just had a hit tweet and all that." It's like that doesn't mean anything. You're gonna tell me that somebody who barely has 800 followers is able to just somehow generate over 12K likes in less than 24 hours, and it's not bots? I don't believe it.
Worse is when it's within 1 hour, and y- it's it's like dwarfs the entire comment thread. It's like this doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
So I'll read these last two paragraphs together. The bottom line is that Moses asked for his original comments and will now be paid the royalties that are rightfully his. Moses and myself have received a large amount of personal abuse and threats over the past few days. We hope this statement will bring some closure to what has happened. And of course, he's just blowing smoke up there. There was no abuse. There were no threats. This is just lies they like to say.
Well, see, it's pretty much it's both parties at fault. It's Bitmap Books and Moses are both at fault in it. Bitmap should have just kept their mouth shut whenever it came to the whole entire thing, because like how we all said earlier, the whole entire thing was just a big old nothing burger. Because there literally nothing that was said on there was offensive in the slightest. And then Moses is at fault as well for apologizing for even saying things in the first place. So yeah, both of them can just say like we're both at fault. And it's like you both shouldn't have even done it in the first place. So you're all a bunch of cowards in my book.
Yeah,
I'm trying to find the Real Red Mage account here really quick if it's still up, because he made a comment on this latest one that I'm trying to find.
Just again,
because it ties into what we're talking about.
People should just practice saying to themselves in the mirror at least twice a day, I am under no obligation to care.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's exactly fine. You're not under any obligation to care. I'm talking about it because it was very much talked about
Well, no,
all over.
We have no choice.
All over X.
We have no choice but to care because it's a thing that fucking happened. What it shouldn't have happened, and it wouldn't have happened if the people involved just said, "Yeah, I don't care."
Well, it's like what
We
I said.
have to care
I'm not going to. More than likely, the force.
The forced apology to it.
No, but
Go ahead,
so
read it.
I'm sure this was a forced apology. Okay, because I don't believe it at all. Because apparently this all started on Blue Sky, which I'm not on at all. So,
Who gives a
my name
shit
is
about
Moses.
Blue
The definitive
Sky?
book of SNES RPGs. Da, 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 da. I need to take a moment to speak honestly. Some old remarks have resurfaced, and I understand why they've hurt, alarmed, and disappointed many people. So it's basically, this feels like just your typical, like, hey, I did this and I'm sorry kind of deal. And he tries to talk about being half Hawaiian, half Hawaiian Portuguese on my mother's side. No strange, which really has a nothing burger. So this just
That
feels
has
like
nothing
he
to
just
do.
typed this up because he had to.
No, what that sounds like, it's
Yeah.
the same old generic copy paste apology that a bunch of these people end up having
I'm
to
pretty sure
do.
they all have a database to go to and just copy paste a apology and then just tweak a word or two to fit it.
Yeah,
themselves.
that is exactly what I was thinking. Is because that it sounds like legal boilerplate.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like almost every other
so,
corporate
hold on.
apology I've ever heard.
So post now because I'm sure he got rid of it. But Moses had a post at one point that talked about defeating cancel culture mob. Apparently,
I remember.
So
seeing
I don't
something about
know. Here's my problem I'm having with it. I don't know. Is he talking about the cancel culture mob that tried to get him canceled for the remarks, or is he calling us that called out Bitmap for their BS the cancel culture mob?
See, one thing
That's the
that
hard part.
I,
I'm trying to have a hard time understanding.
one thing that I was going to mention earlier, but got sidetracked from, is that his definition of threats. I think that part of his concept of threats against himself as the publisher is threats of cancellation. He's probably including like, if you don't recant your stance, we're going to boycott you. He's probably counting that as a threat.
Maybe.
Which is
because when you pay
I'm not
attention
seeing
to
that
the exact wording he gave
anymore.
When he was talking about threats, he didn't say what kind of threats. He just said that people had emailed him threats.
And that's the thing is that people always make that whole entire claim of these people are threatening me and whatnot without actually showing actual proof. Because let's not forget about whenever we saw like that big old stink, not tabletop related or anything like that, back when the Kenobi show came out and Moses Ingram said that she got racist threats and all that, and they showed 3 examples, yet the way they talked about it sounded like there were thousands upon thousands of them and everything, and literally the only ones that they did show were all a bunch of big nothing burgers in the first place as well.
And stuff like that, depending on how big the incident can be, can stick for freaking life. Because back during the Gamergate scene, people still talk about how Gamergate threatened the life of Anita Sarkeesian, even though it's been shown like two or three separate occasions. The FBI looked into the threats and said, actually, yeah, none of these are credible. And in fact, it actually seems like with some of these, you just made another account and threatened yourself.
Yeah, heard that one before. Because like, Anita Sarkeesian was one of those people who would boast about how, yeah, I keep all the receipts, and never shows anyone.
Yeah. So I wanted to point this out because Levistro's commented on this earlier. Apparently, Moses actually because I guess Levistro did the video about this whole thing, and then Moses reached out and asked him to take it down. And I'm guessing Levistro did. Now, I'm not going to say what people can and can't do with their YouTuber Rebel channels. I respect Levistro. It's his choice, his channel, what he can share and not share. I will say this, though, that if Moses ever tried to reach out to me and tried to tell me to edit this part out of the show, I would just tell him straight up to fuck off. Because at that point, he is trying to defend the same people that tried to ruin his livelihood if he's doing this. This is something that needs to be said. And Moses, if you do see this, heed my advice, get a better fucking publisher. Because you obviously need someone that will care about you and not bow down to these leftist fucks.
Yeah, at that point, we're going to Stockholm Syndrome territory.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So apparently, Levistro knows a little bit more about this, which is glad that apparently he's talking about referring to Blue Sky, and the left was threatening.
Oh yeah, it's fucking
Well-Read
left sky.
Mage.
It's fucking Blue Sky.
The fact that
Yeah,
that you would even bother to have a Blue Sky in the first place should open up a whole bunch of things. Like, I don't care
Yeah.
if.
But
Like-
I mean, this points out to how it made it sound like, no, it's our side that's causing all the threats and the abuse. No, it's from the typical people because they eat their own.
Well, yeah, that's
That's
actually one of
That's
those
how
things
it is.
that people have been pointing out about Blue Sky lately is that Blue Sky's version of Wretched Sky of scum and villainy is them attacking each other for not being woke enough.
And
Yeah,
I
because,
imagine
like-
they don't have nearly as much protections from stuff as Twitter has. So literally every problem that Twitter has, by the nature of its being, Blue Sky is going to be 20 times worse. I don't know why people bother with it.
Yeah, because it's like what we described, like I think a couple weeks back, was there's many different versions of people on the right. There's only one left. Because if you deviate at all from what the left believes in, you're not part of the left.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like just a little bit of a sidebar of it and everything. I've told you, Hunter, about like how my girlfriend, where she leans a little bit more towards the left and everything, but she is definitely nowhere near the sheer insanity that like the very far leftists are and everything.
She's a classic liberal, as it would be said.
Yeah. I remember back when I was doing my old show of Sunday Night Poppin', we actually started off one episode because somebody this was before me and her started going out, where somebody actually DM'd her over on Discord saying like, I feel so sorry that you feel threatened to stay on this show. And she's like, what
Yeah.
the fuck are you talking about? He was white knighting for her, saying like, I would never treat you like that. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're going out of your way to say that the people that are her actual genuine friends who all talk shit about one another, including her, we make fun of everybody because that's what friends do. And yet you're saying that we are abusing her and all that. Like, it's your
I'm
whole
a real
white knight
ally
mentality.
of women. I'm going to insert
Exactly.
myself into a situation that I have no idea what the truth behind it is, and see that you're in a group of people that treat you as an equal and with enough respect to talk as much shit about you as they do themselves. And I shall openly be condescending to you as I try to protect you from these vile villains.
Okay, so I do have stuff I want to touch on, but I want to point out Levistro. Apparently, there is stuff behind the scenes. I guess we don't fully know about. So, lose my words. If stuff does come out that proves a lot of what I said wrong about Moses, I will apologize for that until when I do see that. But from the way it looks like now, it looks like Moses is trying to defend the same people that tried to cancel him and give away his money.
I'm like, shit,
Yeah,
if Moses ever feels comfortable enough, he can fucking come on here and explain the situation himself later down the line.
Yeah. So Moses, despite my previous comments, if you do want to come on here and share your side of the story, so we do get a better understanding, if we are wrong with what we're talking about, you are more than free to do so if you see this video.
Well, yeah.
And then,
no, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say is
All right, someone flip a coin. You go first.
You go, Hunter. I'll go next.
D6 of fate.
D6 of fate.
1 through 3, me. 4 through 6, Roger. 3. So I'm going first.
Okay.
So
Yeah, there we go.
But I was going to comment about we were talking about like how people like trying to like be white knighting because of disabilities and all that. My best friend I had growing up, he was a year younger than me, was legally blind, and then I'm autistic, and we would constantly call each other autistic bastard and blind bastard. And I was so bad because when we would play airsoft together, I would take his blindness to my advantage because I would sneak up like a foot away from him, just pop him in the butt with the airsoft pellet, just boop. So I agree with you on a lot of that. So okay, now you.
All right. Basically, what I was just going to say is about the whole thing with Moses and all that is the fact that yeah, we will say something, and that's just because we are only discussing what it is that we know and have access to. If there is something going on behind the scenes, then yeah, we will mention it and everything. But just going based off solely what we have seen and what we know from what we have seen, that is where we are making these judgment calls and everything. Is because yeah, we don't know the full story. If there is stuff going on, then that's fine. But we can only go based off everything that we have seen. So if he, like I said, if he does come out and make a statement about it, then good on him, and then we will rectify and just say like, okay, so a lot more context, a lot more information have come out. So, and this is what it is. And if it's something that is actually goes against what we said before, then that would be like the appropriate time to say sorry about all that, is because we actually know the full context of everything.
Yeah. Maybe we take appropriate actions then.
Exactly. You just don't go on ahead and apologize for shit that you had no control over and something that was literally nothing. You don't apologize for that.
And considering our past experiences with situations like this, things have always been a lot worse than initially thought.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So hold on. I was setting up another post that we may get to depending on timing. So, Patty in the chat. It's good that you're stopping by still for a little bit, Patty. It's always good to see you whenever you're able to, because I think he's like a Pacific Coast time, so which is a lot more hours behind her. He's behind me by I think like 2 hours.
Because they go back even further on what I said about things always getting worse. Like even you, Hunter, said, like despite everything you said, to have the guy find a better publisher. Like everything we say when it comes to like the tabletop community, or if we feel like we care enough to actually like talk about an issue, is because we actually do care and we actually do want what's genuinely good for everyone involved. So definitely with that, Moses, we say the shit we're talking about because we actually want you to. You actually care about the tabletop community. You wrote a whole ass fucking RPG historical book. You obviously give a shit. We give a shit. Do right by yourself, man.
Yeah. And since we're talking about like worse things probably yet to come, this ties into the kind of like third main topic I want to. It's actually something I've been hearing on and off with. Kind of going to the more political side of this discussion now that we have is a lot of people, apparently the podcast bros, as they mentioned now, have come out like now against Donald Trump for some of his actions with regards to like ICE, of the law enforcement of using the military to try to get places like Washington D.C. and Chicago in line and safer again. So the question that I bring in Portland, agreed.
It's one of these Joe Rogan.
So the question, I don't know, not Joe Rogan from I know, but I think Theo Vaughn has said some stuff. Freaking like Andrew Scholes has said some stuff too. Apparently, there's been a handful of them. So my question I have for you all is,
if they care about illegal immigrants all that like that much, they're free to end their households free of charge if they want on their own dime.
Actually,
exactly.
Here is what I personally find to be the best argument for making these people's heads explode. You want them to be immigrants. Okay, fine, cool, whatever. Why do you want them to remain illegal immigrants? Why do you not want them to become citizens?
It's because it's that whole entire mentality of these people secretly hate America.
Well, it also though it's one of those things that one of the libtards in California made the mistake of saying out loud. The libtards in California are treating illegal immigrants like slave labor. That's why they want them, is because they can get away with paying them a fraction of what they would pay to someone who is a U.S. citizen.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Can I make a comment as a proud Southerner as to why I think they want them to remain illegal?
Let's hear it.
If it ain't a lot like Dixie, I don't want to go.
So, So the question I now want to ask all of you currently here that's on the panel: do you think are you getting what you voted for? Is the basic, simple question. We'll start with Roger first.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, getting exactly what it is I voted for.
Right.
It's not everything, but due to like this particular kind of topic and everything, with him sending like the military and what they're doing with the ICE facilities, and then like I said, the military sending in like military, like Marines, Army, whatever it is. I'm not currently caught up with all of that. Sending them into places like Chicago and Portland to get these cities under control, because these places being ran by these far left-leaning Democratic mayors and everything aren't doing anything to actually protect their citizens, and he's actually doing something about it. Yes, it's exactly what I voted for, because it shows that in this particular instance, he's putting the American people first.
Mm-hmm. All right, Mar Hockman.
I was in the military during the Obama administration, and
I'm so sorry.
There are things that I'm not going to talk about. Let's just put it that way. But I was hoping that when Donald Trump got into office, that the Obama administration would burn in hell. But hey, we didn't get it then. But if we get it now, great. I am one of the people on the internet who started a meme for having Hillary Clinton being promoted to Guantanamo inmate.
Yeah, I was there too.
All right. Dusquill.
Some parts yes, some parts no. Like I still think we're still too deeply involved with foreign affairs for my liking, but like at that point it's not really gonna be done about that. But when it comes to the domestic side of things, for the most part, yeah. We are getting the rampage of using ICE and the National Guard to help quell these riots and getting some illegal immigrants, even though he's so far, I think Trump still hasn't reached the numbers of Obama in terms of deportations yet. But hey, just give that a bit more time. We finally classified Antifa as a terrorist organization. That took way too damn long to do. That should have been done when the group first made its appearance. That and Black Lives Matter.
Within a year, yeah.
Yeah. The Epstein files are still too much of a hot topic when that should have been resolved forever ago.
That's a sticky morass that there's way too many people who have reason to hide it for it to actually get the proper attention it deserves. And that's scary.
If anything, that's probably going to be a thing that's going to get resolved in like 2 or 3 generations where no one was old enough to even be involved in that whole controversy.
Oh,
and have nothing at stake.
Here's the thing about the Epstein case that makes all the Democrats look like complete clowns. Who was it that testified against Epstein to get him arrested in the first place?
Was it Clinton?
Yeah. Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. I completely forgot about
it. Yeah, we've already got pictures of Donald Trump hanging out with Jeff. We don't know if he's done anything with the guy, but we know he hung out with
Donald
him.
Trump was the guy who testified against him. All of the Democrat libtards, their favorite politicians, were standing silently behind Epstein. Donald Trump was the guy who called him out in public.
Yeah.
So my answer to the question is yes, we're getting what we vote. I think we're getting what I voted for, but I want more. Like Dusquill brought up, I would like just to see this. I would rather just see us pull completely back from all this foreign stuff and just focus on America for like at least a good decade at this point, because I feel like that's what it's going to take in order for us to be able to even get back on any sort of track. And honestly, even though everyone talks about like Donald Trump's trying to find a third term, if Donald Trump is somehow sane enough to find a way and a loophole to be able to run for a third term in office, I would vote for him again. Because even despite the fact that we didn't get everything we needed in 2016, he was still a much better president after Obama. And then we got freaking Biden that set us all down to shitter. And then he came back, and now now Donald Trump realized when he got elected back in office this time around, I can't do what I did in 2016. I have to actually fight.
Yeah, it's like after all of that nonsense in the Biden administration, with the Biden administration literally trying to lock him up in prison, Donald Trump is like, you know what?
And then the
Given that I'm
assassination
not
attempt.
planning to run for re-election at this time, I'm going to light things on fire.
Yeah, the assassination attempt on his life guaranteed him the victory for the next presidential election. That's when we all knew he had this in the bag. And if the assassination of Charlie Kirk doesn't show that we're going to win the midterms coming up, if that didn't change anything, I don't know what will at this point.
And especially since none of the rhetoric on the left has really died down since the assassination of Kirk. If anything, it's getting even worse now. Like, they're still doubling down on calling everyone fascists and Nazis. They're still talking about how people should still be hunted down and beaten, harassed, or killed. Like, they're still fucking going. Even though at the time, for like a good week and a half, we're like, guys, y'all need to like calm this shit down or things will get worse. But no, they just keep on going with it. They just refuse any and all attempts at reason, which is why I even said on Twitter, they killed a man in the field of debate who only wanted to use words. They killed a man in a debate field. Words are not going to work with these people anymore. They want the violence. They're going to get the violence.
Well, this is not.
So Roger had unexpectedly. So.
Oh well.
So, I'm sorry, I was just sharing that for the audience. That was why Roger left.
Well, anyway,
all right.
One
right,
thing that's
go ahead now.
One thing that someone I've seen talking about this pointed out that in hindsight seems like it should have been blindingly obvious, but the people who were doing it were at least subtle about it at first, so people didn't immediately notice. Why is it that the leftoids have been calling people fascists and Nazis?
Because they call you a fascist or a Nazi because that gives them open range to kill you.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like what I said, like I think last week or the week before, is like they don't kill you because you're a Nazi or a fascist. They call you a Nazi and a fascist so they can kill you.
Yeah.
Yep. And also to incite of violence because of the fact that labeling someone as a evil murderer gives people the reason to feel like it is morally justifiable to whack them, and the people who are calling you an evil murderer don't need to whack you themselves if they can talk the general public into doing it for them.
And to think this is all fucking downstream of Richard Spencer getting punched for wearing a fucking Pepe the Frog lip pin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this actually ties in. This is going to be like the final point because we're probably going to end up wrapping it a little bit early since Roger had to leave. But so I ended up backing this game after I reviewed the quick start because even though it's so bad, I had to make sure I had a physical copy so that way years later, if this ever decided to become out of print, I could pull this book out and said, this is some bullshit that someone made. You can look it up for yourself. It's called Bad as Hell, and it advertised itself, I think I mentioned it on here before, as the anti-capitalist demon hunting RPG.
Yep, I remember that tagline.
Yeah. And literally, I just got the PDF. Less than 150 pages for like $50, but I'm also getting a physical book at some point as well. So I wouldn't even charge a less than 200 page book that much. That would be like a $30 book to me. No matter how much art you
I would
put in
say
it.
for just in case, also make a print out of the PDF for in case something happens to that physical copy.
Also true, yeah. But no, here's what I think, because I just quickly glanced through it. Me and the Wicked Conservative, because since we reviewed the Quick Start together like months back, I sent her my copy of the PDF too, which thankfully is not watermarked. I love it when they're not watermarked pages. I hate that people started doing that. So she has a copy. We're gonna read through it, and then we'll probably at some point, probably next year, is more like going to do it because with holidays coming up, it's going to be hard to try to get a lot of stuff done. So,
Do you know what's the thing we should totally do as a podcast? When
what?
After you get done with reading that book,
Just play it for laughs.
We should totally do a session of it just to see how it goes.
But no,
sure, gotta play test everything.
But it's like when the first went through into the Quick Start, it made me laugh at how ridiculous it is. Reading through the main book scared the crap out of me.
Oh, yeah.
Because listen to this. The demons, it has a list of some of the demons you can fight against because these demons are like physical entities of like the world's evils or whatever. So like one of them is literally a demon based around like it's based on the feelings of women and the dietary pills that they're being forced to take, like Ozempic and all that. So there's a demon that's kind of based on that's killing like these drug addicted like diet women. So that was one thing. But to me, I was like, that's actually kind of clever. I like the idea that because of like society standards that we've had on women and stuff.
That's actually genuinely pretty cool.
But then you turn to, because again, one of the questions that have also been coming up lately is should the ICE agents be able to keep masks on or not? Which I think they absolutely should, because I'd rather have them be protected than the Antifa people.
That's one of those weird things. It's like, oh, if you're just concerned citizens standing up for your rights, why are you hiding your identities?
So, but no, one of the demons in this book is literally called the Faceless Man. And it's this demon masquerading as like a cop with no face. But that's supposed to be based on the evils of the authority figures that hide their faces when they're committing atrocities.
What the fuck?
I was mentally like freaking out as I read this because I'm like, I don't know if they went back and just add stuff in or if this was all stuff they made beforehand. It was almost too on the nose for it to be like they saw they just made this up beforehand.
I don't think they have the prophetic visions of Michael Pondsmith, so that's probably something they added ahead of retrofitted.
Yeah, but it was such a weird thing, and there was some other demons in there. Because the one that
is probably a topic we should talk about at some point is how prophetic Pondsmith is with Cyberpunk.
It's like I don't know that much about Cyberpunk. I don't even know who Pondsmith is. It's the first time I've ever heard that name. So
he's a black gentleman that created the Cyberpunk tabletop franchise, and he predicted that the reason why the corporations took over and the whole world gone to hell and America is like a post-apocalyptic cyberpunk wasteland is because of overt zealous DEI and inclusive mindsets where people went into a purity spiral of not being pure enough in leftist ideology, and it just imploded the whole fucking country.
Y'all have to look into this guy because he sounds like an interesting person.
Mike Pondsmith. The hilarious part is how people tried to cancel him for being a white supremacist.
He's black.
Exactly.
Them goddamn Uncle Ruckuses.
That's how you know that the people doing it had no idea who he was and were just making shit up because of the fact that they're trying to call a black guy a white supremacist because the black guy made the statement that corporatism is a bigger threat to society than racism.
Even the freaking guy who made the Boondock show is like, he's like a classic liberal black man. And he calls out on leftist ideology sometimes in some of his like past like speeches he's done. And then
he's way more critical of the left than he is of the right. He doesn't give a shit about the right.
Yeah. And freaking they also tried to call Larry Elder like what, the blackface of white supremacy or some shit at one point.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
they're basically again, it's what I was saying about that whole thing with calling people Nazis. They're calling people white supremacists to give themselves an excuse to, or well, okay, give people in the general public an excuse to kill them. That's actually what this is that it's an incitement to violence. It has nothing to
Mhm.
do with any real like discussion of ideas. It's incitement to violence.
Yeah. But yeah, but basically, kind of the Mad as Hell, it's all about like being like radicals in your communities and just fighting against the violence in the community or whatever. And literally, it has all these things because like towards the end of that Quick Start book I read, it literally talks about how like yes, this stuff does this not everything in the book is real, but the evils that are in this book are still real, and you should constantly fight against them and get radical. It literally says that at the end of the Quick Start guide. But so yeah, definitely. We'll definitely have to probably once I'm done reading that book and probably doing that episode with the Wicked Conservative. I'll probably talk about that on this show too at some point, and just
Well,
do a
actually,
fun. Go
sorry.
ahead.
One thing I was just going to point out because like we kind of like skipped past this is that who funded Black Lives Matter? Who's funding Antifa?
Wasn't that
Corporates.
Soros?
Canadians.
Yeah, Soros. Soros is basically like the real life inspiration for Bond villains. Because like
And
in the James Bond movies, you have these like evil organizations who are funded by corrupt billionaires whose faces Bond never even sees. Because Bond is too busy fighting their underlings and henchmen to actually take out the money maker behind the uh, um, uh, chaos. He's just like containing the chaos. And like George Soros is basically the kind of person who is the inspiration for that money maker behind the scenes, who's the real mastermind behind the plots. And he's sitting in the background profiting off of creating chaos.
Mhm.
Our friend Mr. Johnny is actually in the chat right now. If I'm going to be told the evils in the game are real, the evils better be the Illuminati, Carbonari, and other secret societies.
Also, I
And
just
I think
linked the section in the Cyberpunk book that talked about diversity and how it led to the downfall of America. If you want to read that in the group chat.
Oh, actually, that's another one. The World Environment or World Economic Forum are
Oh
basically the
gosh.
real life equivalent of Spectre. But whatever.
yeah.
Personally,
But
I think a lot of our problems just boils down to us treating America less as a country and more of an economic zone where its population can be freely swapped in and out at any given time by the elites.
But that's the whole gimmick that the World Economic Forum is trying to pull is that they
Mhm.
want their corporate bureaucracy to take a precedence over national borders.
Yeah. Anyways, on to you, Hunter.
all right, well, yeah. I was just gonna say, if I ever got a chance to speak, it's like one of these days I'm not gonna be here, and I'm just gonna have to let you. And it's like I'll just give you guys like a channel link, and y'all can take over the reins or something for like a day or something with you two. But I think we'll wrap it up there. So thank you all for those still listening and those who joined us. Thank you very much, Levistro, Patty, Johnny, Blackwall. You guys are great, and I enjoy talking with you and chatting with all y'all. And so, let's go around. We'll say where everyone can find us at. Marhawk.
I post a lot of videos to YouTube. I sometimes stream on Twitch and Kick, both of them to at Marhawkman. Um, uh, yeah, you might see me post things on Blue Sky when it's not self-blocking itself in my zone. Like seriously, the website is blocking itself in my region because of I don't know what. I honestly never used it for anything other than copying tweets that promoting stuff I did, and now it doesn't want to let me use it at all.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, and if you're a Star Trek fan, Marhawk's been posting a lot of Star Trek related tabletop stuff, so
Yes.
you might want to check that out. If that kind of crosses your paths.
Yeah, because like one thing that's the reason why I was going through every single episode of TNG one after another. I'm almost done with TNG, almost. Is that while later episodes borrowed heavily from TNG plots, they left out like 90% of it. And if you're going to be doing your own game set in the Star Trek world, why not use one of the less well-known things to surprise your players? Because they're probably not going to remember every single episode.
All right, and then Duskquill, where can everyone find you at?
You can mostly find me on Twitter at Dusko_team. I join the Mythverse on their YouTube channel once in a while whenever they want to stream games or have podcasts about interesting talking topics with either mostly comics, but really any sort of media, especially me as one of their writers. I mostly just talk about the writing aspects of stuff. I don't upload as much really, but I'm going to be out of active duty at the end of this month. I'll be back home at the start of next month, and I'm planning on getting back into YouTube, doing some content creation where I'm most likely going to be going back into doing my indie tabletop showcase show and interviewing creators like every month, as well as maybe just do my own streams and videos once in a while.
Mm-hmm. And then, as always, you can find me on X, YouTube, Rumble, the Ultra Mega TTRPGer, or the handle at Ultra TTRPGER, where I do the Ultracast on Saturday mornings, excuse me, where we just talk RPGs and politics, sometimes the two combine. I also do usually Friday evening streams where I either do solo play or an interview. Next month, it's going to be all what I'm calling New Bordeaux November, where I'm just going to do all solo sessions of the Syndicate, which uses the Tiny D10 system, who I interviewed the author of that last night. So if you want to go back and watch the Mr. Aaron who created the Tiny D10 system, you can do that. And then just to let y'all heads up, there will not be a Ultracast episode next Saturday because I will be out of town for my sister's wedding. She's getting remarried. So I'm going to be spending much needed time with family because Lord knows I have not been spending as much time with them as I need to. So even my own little one has been like, Daddy would it's like with all the work and stuff, he's been wanting to try to see me. And I'm like, there's so much going on right now, kiddo. So
to teach him how to play D&D.
Not D&D. It's like I did start him on RPGs. I'm trying to find a science like fiction game because when I tried to do the fantasy one, he kept on wanting to do he kept on wanting to add a jetpack to the character. And I'm like, it's not that kind of game, son. This is fantasy, not science. But there is I'm thinking about introducing him to Out of the Black Hack, which a buddy of mine made. And it's basically Spaceballs, but with the Black Hack system.
Nice.
What were you about to say really quick, Marhawk?
Oh, I was just going to say that the reason why we were having it so that we had two separate D&D campaigns going on is that so that we would have one that is specifically designed for having small children involved with it and one that's just for the adults.
Yeah, he'll be 7 this year. So, like, there's some stuff that's in Out of the Black Hack. You're going to have to be like, yeah, I can't do that with him. But I can teach him how to say no to drugs, though, because it does have drugs you can get in the game. So,
that was something I was thinking about earlier, but I guess I could save it for some other time.
Yeah, Johnny, I don't know. I don't think my son would be old school traveler. I don't think he's old enough for that. He's only he's going to be 7 this year. So. But I think that wraps up another episode of the Ultracast. Thank you all again for joining us. Have a good weekend. Roll some dice. Spend time with family. And just stay safe.